Okay, so we are back, and in this video I'm going to be setting up the charts that are based on the 5 second and the 7 seconds. So I'm going to come up and select File, New Chart Window. We're starting with the EP for sure. Settings is 5 days back, and style is hollow candlestick. Now this is a required chart. I don't care if you're trading just the macro. Or even if you're transitioning to the 7 second. The 5 second is, remember, the master pivot chart, and it is going to give you the most accurate reading on the time-based things, of the minutes. So we'll get into that in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and format window and select this to what I use, which is on the X time scale, 10 pixels. And on the chart shift, it's 35. This is what I use. And it kind of matches with the software on getting the right edge text kind of clean. Okay, so there we are. You can see we're in a live market. We're going to select, right click and select Format Study Templates. This assumes that you have already downloaded and imported the TMLs. If not, you need to do that first. So we're selecting the 5 second E-mini version 9.7, and then we're going to click Apply. And it's loading up all the indicators, doing its calculations. So after that we can close. We can come and make this AVR a little bit smaller, make it however large or small you want. Okay, so now we have the 5 second E-mini. If you're trading the macro, then the next chart I'm going to do is the 5 second macro. So I'm just going to go ahead and minimize this. And again, if you are starting from your the 5 second chart that you already have, it's perfectly fine. You don't have to do a file new chart window. In that case, you would just right click and select Remove All Studies, and then proceed to the Format Study Templates and insert the new 5 second E-mini TML. Alright, so there's that. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this so we can do the next chart, which is going to be the 5 second macro. File, New Chart Window. And this time we're going to select the macro. EPM 24 is the current symbol. Settings is still going to be 5 days back, and it's still going to be hollow candlesticks. And again, I'm going to expand this chart so we can see everything. You can size these charts however you would like. Format window, again, I'm going to set 10 pixels, and chart shift is going to be 35 again. Alright, and select OK, and then right click on the chart, back to Format Study Templates, and find the 5 second macro version 9.7 and hit Apply. And in this case, all of the data is going to be coming from the, once it gets into real time, all the data is going to be coming from the 5 second E-mini, right? The E-mini is really the chart that we should be using for, volume and expansions and those sorts of things. Sometimes the macro is just a little bit different than the E-mini. Only by a tick or so, just kind of depends on how dynamic the macro is at that particular moment. But again, my opinion, the EP is the master chart, right? So even if you're just trading the macro, you need the E-mini chart, the EP chart, to get things properly. The software is pretty smart. It's even smarter now than it used to be. So you don't have to pay any particular attention to the settings. Of course, the TMLs always took care of that for you anyway. But the 5 seconds is transferred data from the 5 second E-mini. Now, The next charts are going to be the 7-second charts. And at this point, I'm certainly going to tell you that these are optional charts. I mean, the software is working pretty well on them. I'm still going to, have final judgment on what I want to look at. But this is going to give you the option to set them up and look at them if you'd like to. All right, so I'm going to do File, New Chart Window, and of course I'm going to start with the EP. Right, then go to Settings and just select 7 seconds. All right, still 5 days back, and scaling is always to screen on the instrument itself. Okay, so here comes the 7-second chart, and I'm going to do a format window and set everything exactly like the 5-second chart. Meaning I'm going to use 10 pixels and 35 bars. Okay, then of course the next step is to right click, go to Format Study Templates, and find the E-mini, 7-second E-mini down here. Don't get confused. All right, 7-second E-mini, and hit Apply. Now all the settings for 7 seconds versus 5 seconds has already been done in the TMLs. So for instance, we know that the slow flexes need to change in length because we're on 7 seconds versus 5 seconds. All that's automatically done in the TMLs for you. So okay, so I think I've already mentioned this in the room. Only in real time are we going to get the 1x1 Rincos. That's why you're going to have, when you first start your computer and or apply the TMLs, you're going to have this line coming up, right? So TurboFlex and the 1x1 Rincos are going to show up only in real time. All right, so I'm going to let this chart go for a while, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to set up the macro 7-second, and then hopefully we get some expansions. And I've already showed you in the room, but I just want to show you in the video what the expansions look like in one versus the other. So I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to go ahead and set up the 7-second macro. File, do chart window, and go into the macro. I can do it down here. MES M24 settings. We can still use 7, and style is still hollow candlestick. All right, so here comes the 7-second macro. Okay, do format window. Again, pixels I use is 10. I used to use 9. I mean, you could play with that a little bit if you would like. 35 bars, and then coming back in, format study templates, and find the 7-second macro, and hit apply. And we'll let it load and calculate and import. Okay, so there's the 7-second macro. Okay, so we just got an expansion. Let me get my pen working so I can talk about that a little bit. I had already closed my pen for the day. Where's my pen? There it is. Get it out of the way over here. Okay, so I've showed you this in the room. So we'll find out in just a minute. But there's how on the a transfer expansion is going to look. Now we don't know if this is a 5-second or a 7-second because I've already minimized those charts, but we can find out. The only thing we're going to do is come down here and take a look at the 7-second. It looks like it was off of the 7-second. there's another 7-second expansion. So if we come back here, we should see another. So there's the other one. Now, just for completeness sakes, we're going to come back and show what the 5-second E-mini is going to look like. Oops, that's not the right chart. Hang on. Okay, so here's the 5-second E-mini, and here are the 7-second expansions, right? So those are what the expansions are going to look like. And if we come back, we'll do one more, right? If we take a look at the 5-second E-mini, then there we go as well. There's one, there's two. I'm sure if these were exactly working at the same time. But those are how the expansions are going to look. Now, if we get a 5-second expansion, let me close this and go to a 7-second chart. Okay, we got one. Now, if we get, let me clear this pin marking and get another one. Now, if we get a 5-second expansion and it transfers to the 7-second, it's going to look slightly different. So just these two little points means that it was a 5-second expansion, right? And there's another one. Sometimes these bars don't exactly line up. I mean, so there's a 5-second bar somewhere in here, but showed up kind of on like the next bar, which is just an artifact of the macro, needing an extra tick to be able to get the data transferred. So like I said, the 7-second charts are an option. It's still, the jury is still out on which chart I prefer. But again, all the information is being transferred into memory. And if you want to see the 7-second charts, you can. Again, even if you want to trade on the 7-second charts, you need the 5-second E-mini to be able to get the most accurate data on the minute averages, etc. Because all the calculations are being done on the 5-second E-mini. Is transferring into the memory, and it's at every bar close, it's updating the minute averages and the EMAs and those sorts of things. All right, so those are the second base charts. And so if we go back, I'm just going to minimize these and bring the 5-second back up, and you see the long transfers there. All right, so again, we can watch them in the room for a while, decide if we even like the 7 seconds. It's completely optional. If you're totally fixated on the 5 seconds, there's no really reason to change right now. And you're free to continue to use the 5 seconds for both your main EP and your micro trading if you happen to be trading the micro. All right, I'm going to make one more video on the kind of like the extra charts. That could be the daily, the 1 minute, and the big picture chart, just so you have that as a reference to set those up. So that'll be in the next video.